Hey Tracy, welcome to the Community Living Golf Tournament. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. Then we'll just go ahead and slow this down, put you back in your dress position, and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you here in your dress position, let's first of all just take a look at your setup. We can see here that your spine is straight and on a tilt. Your legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Arms are holded a little bit out in front of you there, and then the club works down to the ball. So you're achieving some pretty decent posture there in association with some good balance. We could refine that maybe a hair, and what I mean by that is we would probably just want to have your spine just angled just a little bit more. Keep the legs in the unlocked position that they're in. Let the arms hang down just so the hands are maybe a hair closer to you, and then let the golf club work out to the ball. So just a really subtle refinement. At this point in time, also want to just take a look at your alignment where you can see that your feet are aiming in this direction. Now, theoretically, your club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera would have an appearance of converging. So we are set up to sort of hit the left edge of the fairway towards where it meets sort of the left rough. So we're probably going to see some form of a compensation where we're trying to get the ball back over towards the center of the fairway. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chella Choi. We'll also we'll flip her over the left-handed, and we'll just slide you over to the center here a bit. Now we've got some color-coded lines on the screen here, just as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. We can see with Chella Choi, she initiates her takeaway. She initiates that backswing by rotating the shoulders, drawing the arms and hands back as well as the club. And we're going to watch the club come back directly along the red line. So the club is swinging back on perfect swing plane. As she continues to move through here, we're going to start to establish good wrist hinge into play, whereby the club head's going to transition from below to above her hands. And then from here, we're working the club from red up to yellow. And by the time we get to the top of the backswing, the right arm and club are situated on the yellow line. We have full shoulder rotation, and we do this about a very stable left leg with the weight on the instep of the left foot. So there's the top of the backswing. With you, we watch you initiate your takeaway. You draw your hands back nicely, a little bit to the outside. So don't be afraid to let your hands, arms, and golf club ever so slightly be allowed to work a little bit more inside and around you. But this outside move is very, very minimal. As we continue to come back here, your rotation's good. Unfortunately, you maintain a little bit of stiff forearms and wrists with the club, so we're really not creating that wrist hinge where we're transitioning that club from below to above the hands. The wrists are remaining very stiff. And then from here, you want to continue to work around you. Right now you're starting to work your arms very, very steep, and you're going to set your arms definitely too high where your right arm's covering part of your face, and the arm position is just too steep. We also see a lot of unnecessary activity in the right leg. Your right foot is dancing off the ground, and that doesn't really need to happen. All your lower right side needs to do is give way to the fact that you're rotating. So very simply, what we'd like to do is we just want the right knee to kick in and to roll the instep in without bringing the heel off the ground. It really doesn't need to create the motion that we're seeing. Anyways, as we create our transition back in the ball, simply want to move our weight from our left to our right, fire our knees and our hips to the target, unwind our core, and fire our hands. And in doing so, we want to make sure the golf club is moving from yellow back down on top of red, which is where the club originated, and that's exactly what we see here with Chella Choi. The club has returned back to plane. The other thing we want to point out at this point in time is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. I refer to this as the check mark position. Simply means that her club head is remaining above and behind her hands, and therefore she's retaining angle coming into the hitting zone, which is going to allow her to create a lot of power, let alone getting the club to return back to plane, which is ultimately going to allow her to hit the ball straight. With you, you create your transition back into the ball. You attack the ball from that steep position, so your hands come down steep and you're throwing the club out away from you. So if we go ahead and track the club head coming into the ball, that club is never returning back to the red line. You're throwing that club considerably out in front of you, and that's going to obviously definitely influence this swing pass. So there's your descending plane coming in from over the top, too steep, and therefore from outside to inside. Whereas we can see with Chela Choi, she comes into the ball just slightly from underneath the red line. Theoretically, that club should be camouflaged by the red line right now, but it's just slightly underneath. But you can see she's clearly coming into the golf ball from a different position than you are. Okay, so at this point in time, we can take a look at the path of the club. We can see that her club head is slightly inside the ball. The club expands out to make contact and then gradually moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club is attacking the ball from the outside, dropping down and across, and we can see the path is completely different here. So if we happen to square the club face up to that path, we will pull the golf shot over in this direction. Now if we go back to address for a second, I had already mentioned to you that your alignment was very closed. We're aiming way out to the left, and I'd stipulated that we're probably going to see some form of a compensation where we're trying to pull the ball back over to the center of the fairway. And this is your exact compensation that we see. We see the golf club attacking the ball from the outside. Sorry, let me undo the arrow. We see the club coming at the ball from the outside, moving to the inside, and obviously you're trying to pull the ball down the red flag towards yellow as the compensation. Okay? So out to in, trying to pull the ball back to the right, and then at this point, and we can see the ball actually heading towards right down that red arrow. So now the issue is if the club over releases, the ball will continue to move to the right with a subtle pull draw or potentially a pull hook, and if the club face remains open, the ball may have the ability to sort of slice back towards the left, and if we time it properly, it'll just follow the yellow arrow, the red arrow towards the yellow flag, and then hopefully sort of just stay in that direction. So the end result of your golf shot is dictated based on the timing in the club face. When we're swinging the club over the top, out to in, if we over release the club, it's following the yellow arrows. Under release the club, it's following the blue arrows, and if we time it properly, it'll follow the red arrows. As we come through the golf shot, we can see with Chela Choi, her left heel is slightly off the ground at point of impact, and as she drives through that golf shot, she carries all her energy through, and that left heel comes fully up off the ground onto the toe of the left foot. All her weight gets to her right side, this allowing her hips and her shoulders to square around and complete the golf swing. With you, you're through the golf ball already, and you haven't brought your left heel off the ground. You're driving through, and we can see that there's just no footwork through to the finishing position. So you definitely want to learn how to create proper footwork through to the finish, whereby the left heel comes up off the ground, up on the toe of the left foot, and that will allow you to carry through to a good finishing position. Okay? Overall, some good athletic qualities here from you. I like how your hands work. You bring your hands back and they fire through great. You get some coil, you uncoil. You get your upper body trying to get to a finish, but it can't get there just because that left foot stays flat on the ground. So definitely learn how to create proper footwork through to the finish. You know, subtle refinement in your address position, not a big deal. Definitely when you bring the golf club back, learn how to swing your hands and arms and your club head more inside and around you. And keep going inside and around so your arms shallow out. As soon as you shallow out your arm plane at the top of the backswing, that will reduce how much you come over the top. And then ultimately, when we are set up better and we are bringing the club back better, ideally the number one thing you're going to have to work on is learning how to bring the club into the ball from an on-plane position for sure. And then again, you know, learning how to swing this golf club through to a better finish with creating better footwork. Okay. Anyways, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. If at any point in time you care to want to work on your golf game, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. All my contact information is at the end of this analysis. And also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments or sit in the committee for any events, certainly feel free to reach out and I can discuss my swing analysis services for those tournaments. Okay? Anyways, again, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Hope you have a great summer, and maybe we might hear from you. Take care.